Foster Farms, an American poultry company, recently announced it will shut down its fresh turkey operation in Turlock.
Every time you buy chicken or turkey at the grocery store, there's a good chance you've seen the name Foster Farms. That yellow and red packaging, fresh and natural California chicken. For 85 years, that label meant something. It meant California. It meant local. It meant jobs for generations of Central Valley families. In January 2025, Foster Farms announced it was closing its Turlock turkey processing plant. 519 workers, gone by May. Some had spent 20, 30, even 40 years on that production line. Governor Gavin Newsom said nothing. No press conference, no statement, no acknowledgement that one of California's most iconic agricultural companies just told hundreds of families their livelihoods were over. When Tesla left, Newsom fought back publicly. When Foster Farms abandoned workers who spent decades feeding America, complete silence. And here's what nobody's telling you. Your turkey prices are about to explode because of it. Max and Verda Foster started Foster Farms in 1939, the middle of the Great Depression. They borrowed $1,000 against their life insurance policy to buy a repossessed 80-acre farm near Modesto. While Max worked as a reporter and city editor at the Modesto Bee, Verda raised turkeys. The back porch was Max's office. The first hatchery was built next to their bedroom, so Verda could wake up every few hours through the night to turn the eggs and keep them warm. By 1942, their little operation had succeeded enough that Max quit the newspaper and committed full-time to the farm. Throughout the 1940s and 50s, they expanded into chickens and dairy cattle. They bought a feed mill so they wouldn't depend on outside suppliers. They bought a second farm. By 1959, they acquired a processing plant in Livingston and moved their headquarters there from Modesto. This wasn't some corporate venture. This was a California family building an empire from nothing. By 1987, Foster Farms was selling 140 million chickens a year, making it the largest chicken producer in California. By 1996, annual sales hit $900 million. They had become the largest poultry producer on the entire West Coast and the 8th largest in the nation. Max and Verda's grandson, Ron Foster, eventually became CEO, working alongside his grandfather for 23 years.
For over 80 years, 3 generations of the Foster family kept the company independent. They employed more than 10,000 people across California, Oregon, Washington, Louisiana, and Alabama. Annual revenues reached $3 billion. This was California agriculture at its finest. Homegrown, family-owned, feeding America. Then came 2022. In June, the Foster family sold the company to Atlas Holdings, a Connecticut-based private equity firm. Atlas brought in Donnie Smith, the former CEO of Tyson Foods, to run Foster Farms. 2.5 years later, in January 2025, the announcement came. The Turlock turkey processing plant closed. 519 jobs eliminated, effective May 9th. Foster Farms said the closure was due to changes in market demand and their ongoing strategic plan. That's corporate speak. Let me translate what really happened. California made it financially impossible to operate a large-scale poultry processing plant profitably. Here's the reality Foster Farms didn't say out loud. Turkey production in America is collapsing. Wholesale turkey prices surged over 75% between October 2024 and October 2025, reaching $1.71 per pound. Why? Avian flu has devastated flocks since 2022, killing more than 14 million turkeys and bringing the national turkey population to its lowest point since
Foster Farms, an American poultry company, recently announced it will shut down its fresh turkey operation in Turlock.
People aren't eating as much turkey as they used to. The average wholesale price for frozen turkeys dropped 33% between 2023 and 2024, before the recent spike. So, turkey producers are caught in a squeeze. Supply is down, demand is soft, costs are up, and margins are razor thin. Now add California. In 2018, California voters passed Proposition 12, which imposes strict space requirements for farm animals. Breeding pigs must have at least 24 square feet of space. Egg-laying hens must be in cage-free systems. The law applies not just to California farms, but any farm that wants to sell products in California. If you're a turkey producer in Arkansas and you want to sell in California, your facilities must comply with California standards. Compliance costs are massive. Building new facilities that meet Prop 12 standards can cost upwards of $4,000 per animal unit. For a large operation, that's millions of dollars in capital expenditures. And California didn't stop there. Water restrictions in the Central Valley have tightened year after year. California has some of the highest industrial energy rates in the nation, 18 to 22 cents per kilowatt hour, compared to 8 to 11 cents in other states. Processing poultry requires massive amounts of electricity. California charges double. Labor costs are higher in California than almost anywhere else. Labor regulations are more complex. Environmental compliance requirements add layers of cost. Every regulation taken alone sounds reasonable. Animal welfare, clean water, fair labor. But when you stack them all together, the cumulative burden becomes impossible to bear if you're trying to operate on the thin margins of commodity food production. Foster Farms still operates 6 other facilities in California, but they're struggling with the same cost structure. The Turlock plant was 85 years old. To upgrade it to meet current California requirements would have cost tens of millions of dollars. Atlas Holdings looked at the numbers and decided it wasn't worth it. Shut it down, move on.
Now here's where it gets worse for you, the consumer. Foster Farms announced the closure. The plant sat empty. Then in late 2024, a smaller company called Diestel Family Ranch announced it would buy the facility and reopen it. Sounds like good news, right? Not exactly. Diestel Family Ranch is a boutique turkey producer. They specialize in pasture-raised premium turkeys that sell at Whole Foods and upscale markets. Their turkeys cost 2 to 3 times what a Foster Farms turkey costs. Diestel plans to hire about 200 workers, not the 519. That means 60% of the jobs are still gone forever, and the turkeys produced at that plant will no longer be affordable commodity birds for working families. They'll be premium products for wealthy consumers. Do you see what just happened? California's policies didn't save the plant. They didn't save the jobs. They just transformed mass-market affordable food production into luxury niche production. The workers who used to make $18 an hour processing turkeys that families could afford will be replaced by fewer workers making turkeys that those same families can't afford. California turkey prices are already among the highest in the nation. In 2023, the average cost of a 15-pound turkey in California was $39.85. In Texas, it was $22.60. You're paying 76% more in California for the same bird. And now with Foster Farms closing its mass production facility and replacing it with boutique production, expect those prices to climb even higher. Wholesale turkey prices have already jumped. Retailers have been eating some of the cost to keep customers from fleeing, but that can't last forever. When Foster Farms production capacity disappears from the market, supply drops. When supply drops and demand stays constant, prices rise. It's basic economics. And Foster Farms isn't alone. Cargill closed its turkey plant in Springdale, Arkansas in August 2024.
It will shut down its fresh
Butterball
turkey
closed a
operation
facility
in Turlock.
Jonesboro, Arkansas in February 2025. Tyson Foods announced the closure of a major beef plant in Nebraska in January 2026. Across the country, meat processors are shutting down operations because margins are too thin and compliance costs are too high. In California, the problem is exponentially worse. California produces 1/3 of America's vegetables and 2/3 of America's fruits and nuts. The state calls itself the nation's food basket. But California is systematically losing its food processing industry, not through drought, not through climate change, through policy.
Governor Newsom loves to post about California agriculture, farm-to-table initiatives, sustainability summits, local food systems. He celebrates farmers' markets and artisanal producers. He never mentions that industrial-scale food production, the kind that actually feeds working families affordably, is fleeing the state. When Foster Farms announced the Turlock closure, Newsom said nothing. Not a word, not a tweet, not a press release. When 519 Central Valley workers got layoff notices, Sacramento pretended it didn't happen. The governor can find time to fight with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Twitter, but he can't acknowledge that one of California's oldest agricultural companies just abandoned 519 families. This isn't just a Foster Farms problem. In November 2024, Save Mart closed its Yosemite Wholesale Distribution Center in Merced County, eliminating 250 jobs. In recent years, dairy processors have moved operations to Idaho and Texas. Meat packers have relocated. Tanneries have shut down. Food processing jobs in the Central Valley have been hemorrhaging for a decade. Meanwhile, turkey prices keep climbing. The national average wholesale price jumped from less than $1 per pound in November 2024 to over $1.70 in November 2025, an 80% increase. Retail prices will follow. Your Thanksgiving dinner is going to cost more. Your weekly grocery bill is going to cost more. And when you ask why, the answer is sitting in an empty processing plant in Turlock. California didn't just lose 519 jobs. California lost production capacity. California lost a facility that could process millions of pounds of affordable turkey for American families. That capacity isn't coming back. Dicedale will produce a fraction of what Foster Farms did at triple the price for a tenth of the customers. The workers aren't coming back either. Most of them had families, mortgages, kids in school. When Foster Farms offered the option to transfer to other facilities, the vast majority declined. They couldn't afford to move. They couldn't afford to stay unemployed either, but they had no choice. Foster Farms left, the jobs left, and nobody in Sacramento said a word. Here's what's coming. More turkey processors will close or consolidate. The ones that remain will pass their rising costs to you. California's food production will shift from mass market to boutique. Affordable protein will be made elsewhere and shipped in, ironically with a higher carbon footprint and if it were made locally, which defeats the entire environmental rationale for California's policies. And when you're standing in the grocery store looking at a $60 turkey, wondering how it got so expensive, remember this. California had the capacity to produce that turkey. California had the workers to process it. California had the infrastructure to deliver it. But California's policies made it impossible for companies to operate profitably. So they left, and they took your affordable food with them. Foster Farms didn't fail. California failed Foster Farms. The 519 workers didn't fail. California failed them. And now you're about to pay the price at the checkout line.